At its core, Metro Awakening is an impressive first-person shooter driven by a strong narrative grappling with difficult themes of grief and mental health. Set in 2028, the game follows Dr. Sidar as he navigates the shadowy tunnels and supernatural threats of the Moscow Metro in search of his missing wife. His journey into the chilling depths of the Metro universe is accompanied by an emotional story and elevated by phenomenal voice acting that solidifies a connection between the characters and the player. Now, when it comes to the sights and sounds of the Metro Awakening visually excels. This game displays a masterful use of light and shadow to create a visceral tension that grips players right from the very start. There were times that I found myself frozen in fear at the flashing of a slaver's headlamp in the distance or the glowing eyes of an Asalis, those large mutated mole-like creatures that live in the Metro's dimly lit tunnels and burrow under its architecture. Needless to say, you're going to be seeing those a lot. Now, when it comes to entering the game's many vents and tunnels, this can be an unsettling experience for those who don't like tight spaces. Every shadow that catches your eye amplifies a fear of being caught off guard. Playing Metro made me appreciate the little details that Vertigo paid attention to, like wiping away dirt from my gas mask, which was a nice touch that added a sense of realism. Some visual flaws are noticeable in objects and character models, though, like enemy creatures that lack precision and details, such as whiskers floating above the facial structure of the Nasalis or the occasional ragdoll twitching of a deceased enemy slaver corpse. These visual anomalies are easily forgotten next to the game's detailed spatial audio design, though. Sound and voice acting are such an integral part of making games like this feel believable, and Vertigo has done an outstanding job with the soundtrack in Metro Awakening. The eerily realistic 3D audio cues heightened awareness of enemy and environmental threats, adding a layer of psychological horror and creating one of the most atmospheric experiences I've had in a long time while playing a VR game. The voice acting is also fantastic and conveys a deep emotion that made me actually care for these characters. Like hearing the angst in the main character's voice when he discovers deceased friends, or the furious rage he has for the slavers who took his wife. I became so swept up in the emotion when one bound character was put in harm's way that I actually screamed out loud into my room for them to stop. When it comes to the overall gameplay experience, the atmospheric immersion and compelling narrative Metro provides are highly captivating. My 12-hour and 28-minute journey into the tunnels presented many challenges, ranging from the need for stealth to intense direct confrontations requiring strategic resource management. There were times that I wished I really would have been more sparing with my ammo, though, especially when I reached those 8-legged creepy crawlies that you're gonna find scurrying around further into the tunnels. If you care about your sanity, keep some extra bullets ready and manage your stamina, because there are parts of this game where you're going to be sprinting a lot. If you're severely arachnophobic, this might not be a game for you and you might consider skipping it. Vertigo has even added a trigger warning that players must bypass at the beginning of the game because of this. So just be aware that anyone who has this phobia might find a few sections of this game very difficult to complete. The combat in the game is satisfying, and the enemy AI is smart enough to offer a challenge. Stealth is preferred in most scenarios, but the game does allow for a more forceful approach if that's the way you want to play. So if you're like me and you prefer the more Leroy Jenkins run-and-gun style of gameplay, just remember to shoot sparingly, because if you choose this path, resources like bullets can be hard to replace. During stealth missions, enemies are activated by both audio and visual cues, so things like hard footsteps or forgetting to turn off your headlamp are surefire ways to get yourself caught. The weapon selection is varied and progresses throughout the gameplay, with some of the later weapons in the game having a cool aesthetic, making them seem authentic to something that you might find scavenged from the rubble or cobbled together from spare parts. Reloading is fully manual and sometimes can get a bit frustrating. There were several times when in the heat of a battle, I kept reaching for my chest pouch to get more ammo, but failed to pull the next clip and instead got my backpack or a syringe. Now, the game's environments, while richly detailed, do become increasingly repetitive as you progress further along. Rooms and train cars appear to be reused often, and a lot of backtracking through metro stations I had previously explored was persistent throughout the gameplay. Limited interactions with in-game objects, such as drawers, some of which couldn't be opened, and other items that my hand seemed to just pass through, took me out of the experience from time to time. Other gameplay mechanics, such as the hand crank charger used to keep the flashlight going and access certain doors and machinery, did add to the immersion, but also quickly became tedious to use as the game progressed. Now, with all that said, with Metro Awakening, Vertigo Games has once again delivered a mesmerizing VR gaming experience, and one that serves as a testament to the studio's proven track record of creating adventures geared to provide atmospheric immersion and deep storytelling. Although it can get slightly repetitive at times and has a few graphical anomalies, Vertigo triumphs here in creating a deeply immersive VR adventure that tackles some sensitive subjects along the way, and one that will haunt players long after the credits roll. To ensure that we can continue to provide more great content like this in the future, if you liked what you saw here today, please consider subscribing to this channel and becoming a member at UploadVR.com to support our team. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.